Then you have like the E minor right down the line. It'd be the equivalent to playing 7 chords in one key, just going right down the line. F sharp, diminish, E minor, D, C, B minor, A minor, and G. Just having them memorized, you're less likely to get stumped, and that's good to know, you know. Then your ear, after a while, your ear will just start to hear it. And you can, you know, apply that to any chord progression too. Like if you want to write a cool classical thing, just come up with a chord progression in that key and apply it to an arpeggio pattern, and then you have something kind of cool. Like if you went with like a... Maybe this is just random. G. So it's going G, A, B, C, which is, let me map this out first. So you go right up the line. Wait, G. Sorry. You catch what I mean? It's like you're outlining that chord progression already within your phrasing by just highlighting just the chord note. So it'd be the equivalent to playing a big open chord, but it's just more noodly. Tapping practice, aside from the typical like Van Halen kind of, if you double tapping. Let me just try to analyze what I do. I can't think of any right now. I like to incorporate a lot of sliding and stuff with some of my arpeggio playing. So like a lot of times I'll extend some of my arpeggios and go for the next note in the arpeggio. Like say for instance, normally it would end there. I'll hit it here. So just kind of, and I'll kind of start it on the neck too, where I'll just kind of sweep it here partially, and I'll tap with my middle finger so I don't have to let go of the pick. So it's like a... So it's like a... And if I land on a note that isn't particularly in the scale, I can kind of slide into it. Here too. You need a lot more gain for that. Another thing I've been getting into lately as far as tapping licks is, have you heard of a guy named Greg Howe? He does this thing where he extends his 3-note per string scales by tapping extra notes, and he covers a wider range on the neck by doing so. And a lot of the times he ends up sounding like he's playing arpeggios, but he really isn't. He'll break up a pentatonic scale, like this is something that's kind of inspired him, but he'll go up like... where it's just kind of just picking any random note within the scale. And as you're tapping that note, it frees up this hand to kind of go a little higher. The lick he did literally that I learned from him was like is an E minor. He'll go 4 pentatonic notes starting from the A. Then he'll tap the A up here, and then complete it by playing these last 4 here. So. That's a lot of fun, aside from the typical, you know what I mean, the Van Halen thing. Another thing I do too is the inside-outside thing, where I kind of chase my finger, which is kind of inspired by him as well, where I'll pick 3 notes, and I'll say for instance start on the 3rd note in that pattern. I'll do that kind of thing, and then I'll hit this. Now what that gives you the freedom to do, if you're on a single string, I'll go do that, and I'll slide up to the next 3 notes, and I'll do this. So you got this kind of thing going. Now you got to know the notes in the scale, you know, on a single string. Same with descending. Just plus, it just looks really cool, you know. It's just like, wow, he's doing that on one string, you know. It just, that's what made me want to learn it, because it just looks crazy, you know. And another thing I tried to do too is going even further is trying to combine that technique with arpeggios. Now, if you took this arpeggio, the A minor shape, that same arpeggio will occur here as well. It's the same notes. Right? It's adding one extra note there. And what I'm doing is, with the left hand, I'll actually tap the shape of that same arpeggio just a little bit higher, and I get this crazy, like, alien sounding thing that we're, catch what I'm doing there? The first time I heard a lick like that, I was like, "What the hell was that?" You know? Yeah, right. It's total Buckethead. But he, you know, he has like 9 more fingers than I do, so he takes that to another level, and they're all like this long. But that's what I figured out, because you can't just hit any random notes, and being that they're all chord notes, they sound really crazy because the intervals are so far apart that to the ear it's just perceived as, you know, alien, you know, because no scale sounds like that, you know what I mean? It sounds like alien finger picking or something, you know. But that's that one. String skipping is a cool thing where you can kind of, a lot of atonal stuff though, where I'll just kind of I gotta change position. This kind of thing where you're playing, it's like a diminished shape. That's like total like Buckethead stuff. You don't have to worry about what key that's in. That's just noise, really. It's all diminished and it's changing every string. That stuff works best unaccompanied, you know. That's not going to work on your next ballad. What a pinch harmonic is, there's a lot of natural occurring harmonics on the guitar. Everyone's familiar with that one. And a lot of times if you go an octave higher, for wherever you're fretting the note, there's an actual harmonic there that mirrors where it would be if the nut was where your finger was. So like if you had a harmonic on the 12th fret, everyone knows that one, right? If you put your finger here, that harmonic's now on the 13th fret. Same here. Now that goes right up the line. So after a while, you start playing enough, you start accidentally hitting these harmonics, and then all of a sudden you figure out how to do them and just know where they are and memorize, okay, this harmonic's by this pickup screw or that piece of tape right there. Whatever helps you find them. But basically, the more distortion you have, the better too. How I'm doing that is when I'm hitting a note in a particular scale, if you hold your pick, I don't know if you can see that, the way I hold my pick right there, if you see the flesh of my thumb, when I come down on the string, I want to catch the string on the flesh of my thumb right here. So if you kind of do it where a harmonic naturally occurs, if you go right down the line, if you just hold a random note and go right down the line, there's one. As long as you're making contact with a string and you have a lot of distortion, after a while you can kind of, it just becomes a noise that you can control, you know. You know, the token heavy metal, like Dokken, George Lynch used to do a lot. They're not always in the key, but after a while, you know, you start to realize which ones sound kind of bad, and you consciously avoid them, you know. You can hit them with the bar, too, if there's a lot of hidden ones. Like Satriani does it all with his thumb. Van Halen does it with his thumb. Like when Van Halen... I hit a dive bomb harmonic like this. I hit it up here. Whereas Van Halen, he can't pull back on his bar. He prefers the bar right up against the body because it just has better tone transference. More of the body resonates, which is good, but you enables you to not pull back on the bar. And how he got around that was he would hit the note with his thumb. He'd pull it up and then dump the bar. So it'd be like... You know, I always wondered how he did it without pulling back in. That's how he pulled it up and then dumped the bar. And Satriani does it a whole other way. He hits it with his left hand and just goes for the ones that don't exist, past the frets. If you ever see him hit that, you know... He always hits him with his thumb. But I see him grabbing his bar with his left hand. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He's got that down. That's something you gotta like keep doing. I prefer to get him up here. Now how I do that, that's the Dimebag Darrell technique where you dump the bar. You just pull the bar up real quick and catch the harmonic with your finger. But as I'm dumping the bar, I'll pluck the note, dump the bar, and since the string is already shaking, I'll put my finger wherever the harmonic occurs, and then bring the bar up real quick, and it kind of strikes the note for me. You know. Now these are the ones right between here, there, and there that are like the really gnarly ones. Get enough distortion going, you can kind of get it. And you can kind of hit that one, but I can rarely hit it. Yeah, that one I don't always nail. Sometimes I'll just be nothing will happen, you know, just... So I'll only bust that out when I know for sure I got enough gain going. Or just dump the bar, make some other noise, and then it'll look like I wasn't trying to go for it. That's a lot of fun.